Good evening to you. Family members say they were heading home to celebrate Christmas together, but tonight 4 people killed in a Christmas Eve crash are being remembered. The visitation for Gary and Patricia Caldwell, their daughter Julia Robinson, and her husband began about an hour ago. All 4 were killed when police say David Vanderpool's car hit theirs head-on in Knox County. Vanderpool also died. Police are now waiting on toxicology reports on him to come back. But today we learned Vanderpool had a lengthy criminal history and was actually on parole at the time of the crash. Prosecutors and his own mother tell us he should not have been driving that night. Tim Johnston has this WKYT investigation.
While not much is known about the moments before the deadly crash, a look at David Vanderpool's history suggests the whole nightmare could have been avoided.
He was on parole at the time of this accident, which would have ended sometime in 2015.
The 31-year-old has faced roughly 35 charges in 7 years. Most are theft-related, but a few stand out. Like in 2006, he was charged with driving on a suspended license. And in March of 2012, he was arrested for a felony theft charge. He was found guilty and sentenced to 5 years. He served only 9 months.
At the time he was sentenced, he had served about 180 some days, and all people get credit for the time they have served. And under the current regulations, a person is eligible to be paroled on a 5-year sentence after they've served 9 months.
On December 5th, he again was arrested, this time in Lincoln County for driving on a suspended license. He pled guilty the next day, and despite being on parole, he was sentenced to just 30 days. But Judge Janet Booth gave him a 2-year conditional discharge, or simply probation.
Probably at that time, no one was aware of it, and I'm sure if they were aware of it, they may have looked at it differently. I don't think it was their fault.
Just 18 days later, the deadly crash happened.
Those are the type of people who, very frankly, would be better served personally by a longer sentence.
Twice in the same year, Vanderpool was sentenced to time he never fully served, something that friends and family of the victims and Vanderpool's own mother says greatly impacted what happened that Christmas Eve night.
If he'd have stayed in, he'd have been alive today.
Jackie Curitan says she pushed for her son to stay in the halfway house. Instead, he was released. While she hadn't spoken to her son since September, her heart is breaking.
I just want to know what happened. And I am so sorry for the other lost. Very much sorry for the other lost.
Even more, the state transportation cabinet says Vanderpool's license was again under suspension after the Whitley County court system made the request in November of 2011.
There is nothing that prevents a person without a license or with a suspended license getting a set of keys, going to a car, and taking off.
Still, David Vanderpool got behind the wheel, and his choice had a major impact. In Whitley County, Tim Johnston, WKYT.
We tried to contact Judge Booth's office in Lincoln County for a comment, but our calls were not returned.